CJ Nitkowski has moved from the world champion Texas Rangers television booth to that of the Atlanta Braves, and this being put out on social media. Bally Sports welcoming
the
Braves.
He got touched up for that one. Look at him. He looks like a model. Where's CJ?
He doesn't get touched up. Come on. How you doing,
amazing
CJ?
filters they have there at Bally's. I'm doing great, man. How you guys doing?
We're good. Good morning. Congratulations on this move. And from what we understand, this is a way for you to spend a little bit more time with the family, closer to home, yet still being involved in the day-to-day trappings of Major League Baseball. Welcome. Congrats. And tell us about the move.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it was a really difficult decision because the Rangers have been incredible. I've been there for 7 years. Loved everybody that I work with, both in front and behind the camera. I wasn't looking to make a move, but some people had reached out toward the end of the season and into the offseason about an opportunity opening up in Atlanta. And it's the only organization I would even listen on, again, because I was so happy in Texas. But we have been living in Atlanta since 2006. And so the idea of being home and not commuting certainly was appealing. I'm on the road, or have been on the road, anywhere between 120, 130 nights a year. And I start doing that math and realizing, man, I'm on the road a full year every 3 years. And so when this came up, we gave it some consideration when they had said, yeah, we'd be interested in having you. I went back to the Rangers, and they were just fantastic about it, understanding that this was strictly about family. Also works out well. It's a great organization and a great team, and we're just thrilled to be here.
Yeah, no, you can't beat being home, no doubt about it. Hey, CJ, you've done such a great job of broadcasting, and having been in the seat you're in as a former player, when did you feel like you got your groove, got your footing as a broadcaster?
I feel like we're always working on it, to be honest with you, right? It's that old Derek Jeter thing. Don't get too comfortable and think that things are going great and you don't have to get better. Because that's when people start passing you by. But I do feel pretty comfortable in what I do. But it took a while. You know, each role is different, right? You guys have done a bunch of different things, whether it's doing studio the way I was with Fox and then doing some national games for them and FS1. Sliding over to local is completely different, right? You're doing better than 100 games. And so the flow and the prep and everything that goes along with that is different. Getting to know your partner, having that chemistry, what works, timing, all of those things take a lot of time. I love what we do. I love the industry. I love digging in, and I love talking to other broadcasters about how they do it as well. And so I don't think I'll ever be completely comfortable and think that I have it figured out, but I'm proud of the work that we have done, and certainly that we did with the Rangers, and looking forward now to getting started with the Braves.
Studio or games? Which one did you prefer?
I love the games, man. I love being at the ballpark. I love being in the action. The idea of hopefully offering some insight while still entertaining people at the same time without beating them over the head with a bunch of numbers, right? Trying to find that balance. Like, studio is fun. I had a really good time doing that at FS1 and worked with some tremendous people over there. But being at the ballpark, being at the games, calling the games, and trying to add some perspective and hopefully make people laugh along the way, to me, is position A.
So you are joining us not from a, New Era cap retail outlet. That's a home position, and on the wall behind you, because you pitched for so many different teams in so mmany different places, countries, and continents, that wall is filled. You pitched in Japan. You pitched in Korea. And since we're talking about Jung-Hoo Lee, we're talking about Yamamoto, your insights in having been there and lived this and coming back to the big leagues, for players that were born and played there first, their journey coming here is very different than yours, starting in the States and going over there as an older guy. When you watch this international market and what's happening with the dollar signs, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love seeing it, first of all, the opportunity for these guys to come over and have the opportunities in the major leagues, especially for the Korean guys, as you mentioned, playing in both of those leagues. You know, the Japanese guys have been doing it for a while. You go back to Nomo and everything he brought to the table with the Dodgers, and a guy I was fortunate enough to call a teammate later down the road. Like, the Japanese market had been established. I think for the Korean market, and it really started for me with Hyunjin Ryu, when he first came over. He was in Korea when I was there, and I remember seeing him and people asking about him. I said, he's a pretty good lefty, serviceable lefty, probably. Obviously, he turned out to be much better than that, and I think that was really important. and then to start to see position players now get the opportunities. I love it for them because both of those countries love Major League Baseball. There is a balance in there, though, somewhere, because you also don't want to dilute the talent. And so you certainly understand some of the rules that are in place when it comes to posting. We know that some players start to see the big dollars that you're talking about in Asia and wondering, is there a way that I can get over there a little bit earlier? And that's tough. And so, again, there's that balance in there, I think, for both fan bases and certainly for both of those leagues to make sure that they're keeping the quality high, but at the same time, letting some of their biggest stars eventually come over here to the big leagues and showing everybody what they're capable of. So I've loved what I've seen. I loved my time over there and spent 4 years, 2 in each country. And it's exciting. The money's crazy, but the money's there. You know, people ask me all the time, you know, why are these contracts so high? I said, the money's there. If the money wasn't there, they wouldn't be giving it to the players. As we know, there's always that balance between ownership and players and what piece of the pie you get. But it's there, it's available, and it's good to see the guys be successful.
So on that vein, the money is there. The one question I get asked all the time, this guy has not thrown one pitch. Talking about Yamamoto. He hasn't thrown one pitch in the big leagues yet. He's 25, and we're talking about $300 million. You know, how do you come up with that when he hasn't thrown one pitch? Are you concerned about that?
Well, a couple of things. You're always concerned, right? Because there have been some players that have come over from Asia and it hasn't worked out, and they've made a lot of money in the process. That's the risk that you take. But you said something really important, the fact that he's 25 years old. You can't find a 25-year-old top-of-the-rotation starter in the free agent market here in the States. You just can't. It's not possible. Then you go watch the stuff. I think when it comes to the pitchers in particular, they're a little bit easier to project in how successful they may or may not be in the big leagues. And the stuff that this guy, at least that I have seen so far, looks incredible. It looks like it's going to play. Yes, he's got to go through the adjustments of the baseball, the mound, potentially pitching every 5 days, depending on which team he signs with. I'm guessing they'll probably go to a 6-man rotation to make sure they can max out whatever this contract ends up being. But yeah, there's an adjustment period in there, and there's certainly risk. But you guys, I heard you guys just talking about it, and JP talking about it. The names of the teams that are out there right now tell you that everybody believes pretty strongly that this guy's going to be great.
Hey, CJ, because your background is so vast with all your experiences in the big leagues,
the nice way to put that
in
He's
international
getting ready
baseball,
to come after you.
not only are you great,
I know the setup.
You are so good for Immaculate Grid. I mean, you're gold.
No.
You're like Paul Bacco good. Like 8 different teams you can fit. But we have a game set up for you. One of our favorite little devices here on Hot Stove called Know Your Minor League Teammates. Your last years in the minors, 94 and 95 in Chattanooga. How well do you remember these dudes? And I'm going to guess some of them you're going to nail because they're recognizable dudes. But here we go.
Yeah.
We got 5 former teammates from the 95 Chattanooga Lookouts. Who's this cat?
Oh, I got to be able to see. Is that Chad Mottola? I got you guys kind of small here. You should have told me to make sure I make my window was really. No, I can't see it so small.
Yeah, we did that on purpose because we didn't want you to have any success doing this.
Well done.
That's Moeller High
that's Adam
School.
Heistu.
That's Adam Heistu. Right.
I know that I'm zooming in. Thank you.
Former first rounder, 15th
a teammate
overall.
in Japan.
Oh, really?
We played together in Japan.
No
That's
kidding.
Correct.
I remember this guy all throughout the minors. He absolutely dominated. Had some years in the big leagues. Adam Heistu. Okay, let's go to the next one. This one might be harder.
Is that Cleveland Liddell?
Got it. Cleveland Liddell. He was in Chattanooga for quite some time. I don't believe Cleveland ever got to the big leagues, but you nailed him.
Yeah, great dude. Could absolutely fly. Had a lot of fun with him.
Next, hybrid guy, Eastern Kentucky University guy. Infield, outfield. 14 minor league seasons.
No big league seasons?
No.
Oh, so that's not Brian Kelling.
Like a Crash Davis character. 8 different minor league teams.
I'm wondering if there's a chance that we were not on the team at the same time, because I'm also going blind, by the way. I'm fighting the good fight and not wearing my glasses right now.
Do you remember Frank Kremblis?
Oh, Frank Kremblis. Gosh darn it. We were teammates in Indianapolis, too. He looks completely normal there. He's not normal. He's a maniac. That's what threw me off. If you had the hat off, his hair flying, and we were out at a bar, I would totally recognize him.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you'll be hearing from Frank at some point.
Yeah.
And up next, an outfielder. He got 6 games in the big leagues with the Reds in the mid-90s.
From Duncanville, Texas, Steve Gibraltar.
Wow. Nailed the place of birth and everything. Steve Gibraltar is correct. I think you're going to get this next one because, man, he's got so many fascinating elements to his career.
Yeah, Tug, of course. What a great lefty. He's still he's still a scout. He was with the Angels, I believe, with the Mets. Great left. You know what's cool about him is that during the strike in '94, he came down. So that was one of like my first kind of guys who played in the big leagues.
Oh, wow.
That I got to call a teammate.
And
so,
he gave up
fantastic.
George's 3,000th and then picked him off.
He ever talked to you about picking George off?
He did not, but he is really such a tremendous guy. That's cool to see Tim Fortuno there. By the way, this picture back here, I know you can't tell because you guys have probably a bad sight like I do, but if you zoom in really closely on that picture, every single teammate that I ever played with's name's on there.
Hold on.
That's what that
What?
picture is.
We don't
So
even
that's
have
why,
it.
yeah. You can't do it from your spot. I put it on social media before. But
The
yeah, so
picture
there's
with you
about
throwing
900
right
or
there
so
behind
guys.
you?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a picture from Japan, but it's one of those where you zoom in really tight and you'll see every single guy I've ever played with.
Oh, man, that's
wow.
very, very cool.
Who made that for you?
I actually did it myself on Photoshop.
Did you really?
I did, yeah.
Look at the
a lot
skill
of free
set
time in
on
the
you.
offseason.
That could be that's like an MLB.com shop gift idea there for Harold because you have a lot of names on
That's
your photo
amazing.
too.
That's what I was thinking.
Hey, by
I
the
could
way,
never do
when
it.
you're hosting Loudouts on MLB Network Radio a little bit later on this afternoon, I do this often. I've set the over/under on the number of times Ryan Spielborgs mentions Santa Barbara at 3.5. 3.5.
He can't wait. He can't wait. The good news is, in that sense, you better take the under because he is in Costa Rica on vacation right now. So he is off for the week. So it'll be me and Jenny Kavnar today. But you're right. He loves talking about Santa Barbara.
Hey, CJ, congrats on your move. I know you're going to really love being with the Braves and being home, and they got a good one for sure. So thanks for the time. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Great to see you guys, and thanks for having me on.